Derek Jarman is one of the greatest storytellers the world has ever seen. He is a queer ancestor. He is a constant guide for me. He is an artist. He is a diarist. He is a writer. He is a gardener. He is a painter. He's a storyteller. And he's incredibly important. So we're in Maison Bertaux in Soho, and this place was incredibly important to Derek Jarman and his legacy. I think we've come to Blue at different times in our life. Mine has been online, but then I saw it live in Paris, and it was incredible. And I was like, this needs to be done in the UK, and I wanted to be a part of it.
O blue, come forth. O blue, arise. O blue, ascend. O blue, come in.
Blue was Derek's very last movie. He made it in the months before he died of HIV/AIDS. The image is very simple. It's a blank blue screen. But what you hear couldn't be richer. He takes you right inside his head, sharing his most private and passionate thoughts in the last months of his life.
It's incredibly brave to ask an audience to sit there for around about an hour in front of a static blue screen. That is an ask, but it's an offering that he's welcoming you into that experience. And it's a shared experience, because when you share that experience in a room full of people, it's a journey you will go on.
Derek often talked about alchemy, and he believed alchemy was a real thing where you could transform base material into something really precious. And that's what happens to you while you're watching and listening to Blue. Ostensibly, you're just staring at one thing, this blank blue screen. But of course, your mind begins to populate that blue with all sorts of fleeting images. I sometimes wonder if I'm hallucinating while I'm watching it. I'm going, where are these pictures coming from?
It's a static blue screen, yes, but the way that the human eye interacts with colour is that it's always ebbing and flowing and it flares.
In some ways, Blue is Derek's richest painting because with an absolute minimum of means, he takes you on this extraordinary visual voyage where you feel so much, hear so much, see so much.
Diving size queen with bad attitude, a sneaking psychopath.
I think this artist, Derek, is an artist who made his sexuality and his activism the cornerstone of his practice. That is rare for that time in history, for someone to allow the public to see the real version of him. For all of us, whatever your gender, whatever your sexuality, Derek Jarman is an ancestor, and I still feel his presence today. And he's an ancestor and a guide that can help us through dark times, because he was living through dark times, and instead of sitting back and saying nothing, he stood up and he screamed. And his scream is what we all need today.
One of the two moments really stand out for me now that seem to leap across time from 30 years ago. So for instance, there's one moment in the film where you hear Derek's words, and I never forget them. He's sitting in a hospital waiting room, waiting for some test results, and he says he feels the world's been divided into I sit here, you sit there, them and us. And in '93, that meant people with HIV, these terrible demonized other people, and the rest of the world. And now here we are 30 years later, and we have some new demons. It can be trans people, it can be immigrants, it can be striking public sector workers, but still you hear that rhetoric of they, the pointing finger of the moral majority. They are the problem.
I find him incredibly inspiring and empowering. And I think for so many people today to, if they don't know Derek already, to discover him and know that this man existed and he was out and proud. And at a time when being gay meant being in close proximity to death, he was there and present and truthful and authentic. And for me, he is an icon.